Why is NATA different from the other exams? Now I'll tell you how is NATA different from the other exams, okay? Most of the exams are about right answers, fixed methods which we need to know to attend the exam, and then a step-by-step solving of a problem which we've learned in all these years, which we put today also in the same exam. But NATA is very different, okay? NATA has two different things. One thing is there is no single correct drawing which you can do. What does NATA test in you? NATA tests how you observe the world, okay? What you see around you, how you observe with the sun, the light, and everything, which is the phenomenon which is happening around you. NATA tests how you interpret ideas. So how you interpret ideas may be the simplest of ones or the complicated ones, but then how you present your idea to somebody who wants to listen to you. That's the thing. And how you visualize it, most importantly. NATA tests how you present them visually, because the person you're going to be telling that idea to needs to understand it exactly in the exact form which you're needing to explain, for which you need to know the visualization, the sort of creativity which you need, and then the backup of all these skills to put that idea out. Now that is why students who blindly follow coaching methods, like, they often struggle to clear NATA. So you cannot do or study NATA like how you're doing for the other exams. That is the point I'm implying on, and that is exactly why this course module is where you're sitting at. Now, what are the skills required to succeed NATA? Now, this is, I've summed up in pretty much of 4 core skills. First one is you need to have observation. You need to have observation of everything around you, people, places, objects, shadow, light, everything around you. That's the most beautiful part of life. The second one is visualization. So you need to visualize anything which you see. So remember those days where you went out with your parents to some beautiful mountain range, and then when you came back you started to draw that mountain range and show it to them? That is called visualization. Next one is creativity. Creativity is about generating new ideas, and it's not only about generating new ideas. Creativity can be making something more creative of whatever is existing also. The last one is expression. Expression is putting your ideas on paper clearly for anybody to understand it in a very positive and an optimistic way. So your ideas cannot be negative. So your ideas need to be more sort of very user friendly, and then people need to understand this what I'm telling. Now these are the 4 core skills which you need for you to get into the NATA preparation itself. So this is a very important question which has been lying in my mind for a very long period of time, and I'll tell you what that is. How is NATA different from JEE, for example? There are a lot of other exams, but I'm just, for this sort of example, I'm just taking JEE, okay? Now let me make it very simple. JEE is equal to a lot of depth of concepts, and you're sort of memorizing them, you're sort of learning the entire theory, and then going into the exam and solving things. NATA is equal to something like, application and creativity. So it's totally different from that. Now in JEE, you solve complex numerical problems. In NATA, what you do is you think visually, okay? Think visually. An example I would tell you is, A is for apple, right? But can you show an apple in a paper? Can you make an apple out of paper? Or can you draw an apple in a paper? That is visual. And then you solve creatively. So it's like solving creatively is nothing but getting some newer ideas for which a solution can be found out in a creative way rather than a mathematical and a very solving type of way. You think visually, you solve creatively, and then you draw ideas. You draw ideas. You don't think about ideas. You draw them. Take your pencil, put it into paper, draw it, show it to somebody. Now I'll also tell you this important thing, why JEE exam style of preparation fails for NATA, okay? Now students who prepare like JEE for NATA make these 3 big mistakes, okay? The first one is they focus only on maths, okay? Now architecture, creativity is not only about math. Math is there, but not every time, and not for the entire period. Next one is they ignore the drawing part totally, because the drawing part is the part which gives you more marks in this particular exam, and it is the easiest way to get marks, okay? Not the aptitude test itself. And the last one is they avoid creative practice, because without creativity you cannot create things, and you think you want to be an architect, you are creating new things, new spaces for people, but then you need to have creativity inside you, right? Now so what happens for those students who study NATA like JEE, right, is they feel confident in one section, let's say for the example the aptitude test or whatever, but when it comes to the drawing, the creativity part and things like that, they have a lot of confusion, and they struggle very badly. Now this is why balance is everything in NATA. Now the best part of this module 1 is, who should choose architecture itself? Question mark. Architecture is not just another course, and it's not just about studying and coming out, and getting to another job and stuff like that. Architecture is a lifestyle by itself, okay? It is not just another course. Now, you should consider architecture, or you will want to go into architecture because of few things like this, which I'm going to tell you. First one is, if you enjoy creativity, you can go into architecture. Let me be blunt. If you like designing something, if you like designing something new or something existing, if you want to improve something which is already existing, designing itself is what you like, please do architecture. The third one is, you need to observe the surroundings deeply, or if you're a person who have been doing this, then you are fit for architecture, because architecture is mostly observing and then giving a solution for anything. So next one is, you have the patience to improve yourself and your skills in a particular period of time. This is where you get tested, and if you're ready for that, boom, you can do that. See, I'll tell you what architecture rewards. Architecture rewards curious minds, people who want to know a lot of things about a lot of things, and then creative thinkers, and then the problem solvers. So there is another difference between passion versus a trend decision. Passion is something which you decide very clearly. Going with the trend is something which is called as the rat race. You don't have to do that. Okay, so many students choose architecture because it sounds cool. Yeah, architecture sounds cool, dude, so let me choose that. No, some students choose architecture because somebody suggested architecture to them even without knowing what their skills are. That's a very bad idea. Now, they just think architecture is like getting into engineering. Some people do that also. So don't do that. This is the most dangerous thing which you can do to yourself without assessing yourself, right? Now, architecture is a 5-year commitment to something big for your life. It's not a course, it's a 5-year commitment. You need to be all the head to toe, you need to be committed to every semester, and you need to have your brain ready, you need to have your skills ready, upskilling, and a lot of things will happen in that. And if you choose architecture without interest, you're going to struggle, okay? Let me be very frank, you will struggle. So ask yourself honestly about how you fit into the architecture realm. Now here we come. The beautiful part is, I'm going to be telling you about the 5-year journey breakdown of architecture in college, okay? This will be the part where you will learn something new about architecture course itself, okay? Let me tell you what that is, okay? Architecture course is first of all longer than most of the degrees. You understand that by now, okay? You should have understood that by now. Now each year builds on your skills, okay? Each year is about learning something new and building, and you changing into a different person by itself, okay? First year, there are the basics which you'll be learning, basics of whatever comes with architecture, from lines to drawings and shapes and things like that, and putting your mind to a lot of creative stuff, making something. This is what will happen in the first year. The year 2 to 3 will be totally skill development, which you'll be doing with a lot of beautiful projects which you'll be designing. You'll be designing single space, multi-space designs, and then you'll be getting inspired from most of the architects in the world, and then you'll be getting inspired from newer architects who are there right now in 2026, and also the architects who were there in let's say 20-30 centuries behind. So this is a beautiful thing in that particular period. And the year 4 to 5, you will have advanced design and internships. Now advanced design is nothing but you'll be getting into a thesis mode, which will come either an internship with it, which will come before that. Now this is not a shortcut journey, guys. This is never a shortcut. This is not easy, basic skill development, advanced design and internships. Architecture is big, so it is a total transformation. If you see my other videos about architecture, there is always this one thing which I tell everybody is, the person who goes into architecture the first year and the person who comes out of architecture in the 5th year, it's the same body, but the person is different. That's the beautiful essence of architecture itself. That is what happened to me. That is what is happening to a lot of people now. And that is what had been happening previously in the past. So architecture transforms you. Architecture changes you. Architecture entirely modifies you into a format where you are ready for the world. So workload and expectations, let me be blunt, transparent and honest here. Architecture is very demanding, okay? You need to be ready for it. That is why I tell you, you need to see if you can choose architecture in the first place. You will have a lot of designs being made, and then you will have a lot of in-date timeline with deadlines of design submissions. You will be doing a lot of drawings which are scale drawings and non-scale drawings, freehand drawings, and a lot of beautiful things you'll be doing. There will be a lot of late nights which will be working with drawings, but then that's the most beautiful part about architecture itself. You can ask anybody about it. That is the best part of life. and then you will have continuous projects which you'll be doing in every semester, with which you can upgrade your skills, and that is exactly what you will be doing for you to bring yourself to a stage of thesis and then getting into an internship in an architect's office. Now, this is not a chill college life. It's a sort of a chilled out, sort of a beautiful college life where you don't have too much of stress on theory and stuff like that. But then you need to enjoy the process. You cannot sort of suffer the process. Okay, suffering the process is totally different from you enjoying the process. Okay, and it becomes more exciting and it is not that stressful if you start liking what you do. Now, what are the skills you'll be needing beyond exams for architecture? Now, NATA only gets you into architecture, right? But you do not succeed the entirety of architecture without things like what I'm going to tell you now. One is design thinking. Next one is the communication skills, which you'll definitely need to have. And then you will have to have a lot of software skills, like, let's say basic CAD, SketchUp, and a lot of brilliant softwares which are there for you to bring your ideas out. And then you need to have presentation skills. And that's the most important part, because you do everything, and if you don't present your idea very well, that's gone. Okay, so do not just aim for clearing NATA. Aim to become a stronger person. Aim to become an architect is what I would say is the right word. So how do you start from zero? Okay, most of the students watching this particular course are not having a background in drawing. You do not have any coaching. You do not have a clear plan about how you need to do this preparation for NATA. And that is exactly why this module is important for you. And what I'm telling you is, if you're not so prepared, if you're very confused, and if you're lost right now, it's completely okay. That is where everybody, your friends and whoever it might be, are there in that situation. Now, because NATA is one of the few exams where you can start from zero every time and you can still pass. It's not like the other exams. So let me simplify your starting point. You don't need expensive coaching. You do not need advanced knowledge. You do not need the perfect drawing skills. You need drawing skills, but not perfect. Okay. What you need is, you need a clear roadmap of how to prepare for this particular exam. You need daily practice of particular time slots for particular things, so that it happens to be a consistent practice and then it comes with a good output. Next one is, you need to have consistency of doing all these things daily, because without a timetable, an exam is not crackable. So that is what I'm implying for. Okay. So if you're feeling lost right now, don't worry, because I was exactly the same person who I was sitting after my 12th thinking about architecture, NATA and things like that. I was lost. I was confused. But I tell you guys, you know how my videos are, right? I'll be telling you the truth. Being lost is default. Not everybody knows what's coming next. So being lost is good. Be bored, be confused. That is where some things really tend to happen in a very positive way. And that might be the starting point, is what I'm telling. So this part is most important, where you need to understand your timeline. Okay, now let's talk about time, because your strategy depends on it, right? Okay, so let's say if you have 90 days, okay, you're in the best position. By now, I think the date is 17th of April, which I'm recording. I don't know when this video is going to be out or the course is going to be out, but then it's already, people have started preparing NATA and people have taken the exams. So if you think you have 90 days, you are in the best position possible, because you can build concepts slowly, learn concepts slowly, you can practice a lot of drawing properly, and then you can give multiple mock tests before you go and attend the exam itself. Now, if you're there having a 60-day timeline, which is 2 months, now you need to be a little bit focused, because less theory and then you need to have more practice, because you can still score well, but consistency and practice of drawing is more important, because that is a bigger chunk of your particular exam. Let's say if you're in the worst spot possible now, which is your 30-day timeline, like how I was when I finished college. Now, you need to only focus on important aptitude topics, daily drawing, mock tests, no distractions at all, boys, no distractions at all. Now, you need to decide in which mode you are in. Okay, if you are telling me, boss, I'll take the 90-day, take it. If you're telling me, boss, I'll take the 60-day, take it. If you're telling me, boss, I want to do it in 30 days, take it. You're taking it, you're taking the decision. But then if you're taking anything in 30, 60 or 90 days, you need to have this roadmap preparation for that, and that is exactly what we are going to be running into. Okay, so daily study system is something which can help you out. Okay, now comes the most important thing. What you need to do daily let me keep it very simple for you guys. You don't need a complicated timetable like how you had in school. We are not talking about 8 hours of 8 different subjects and then you're looking out for the favorite teacher and the favorite subject which you like. That's not going to happen, right? So just follow what I'm telling, okay? First of all, 1 hour of aptitude test learning which you can do, and 1 hour of drawing which you need to do. Drawing might be anything, okay? Just looking at something and drawing. And 30 minutes of observation. Observation is you go outside, look at the world, you take a walk, you go sit in a coffee shop, you go on top of your terrace, you observe the world as it is. Now here is the secret. Most students try to study for 6 to 8 hours and quit in 5 days. I am a person who does that. I start first, second, third day, I go full throttle. The fourth day I'm sitting in front of the TV, I don't give a heck about what's going to happen for my preparation. No, that's not something which you can do if you are trying to, sort of do NATA. Okay. Even if you study 2 hours daily, do it very properly. It'll be a huge commitment which will give you faster results than you studying extensively for the entire 8-hour day. Because I know guys, you just finished the 12th, you come out of it, you don't want to do that, but then a little bit 1 to 3 hours you need to give it. Weekly planning strategy will help you out, which is daily work is important, but improvement comes with daily practice. Okay, it might be set up weekly also is what I'm telling. So every week ask yourself, what did I improve this week? Where am I weak? Where are you, which topic are you weak at, which topic you want to improve? That is the week I'm talking about. And what should I fix next? For every week 1, week 2, week 3 you are preparing. These are the 3 questions which you need to ask yourself. Now a simple weekly system will consist something like this: 5 days of practice, 1 day mock test, and 1 day of analysis and improvement. Simple. So Monday to Friday you do the preparation and the practice like I told you, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, and then Saturday you take a mock test which you can do it from Google or whatever, and then you take the Sunday as 1 day which is like just looking at the previous week and analyzing where you need to improve. And let's say if it is the drawing or the attitude or wherever the part might be, that will be very helpful to you. So the mock test is the best part which you can take, but then there is this part which comes to you, which is the mock analysis. That is the most important stuff. So do not just give tests just for attending it. After every mock test you need to do after every mock test, what you need to do is you need to check the mistakes which you've done in that particular mock test and improve it. You need to identify the weak part of where you are not working out. It's very confusing, I'm still to improve that part. And you need to practice those areas consistently in the next coming week. This creates a loop which will happen for yourself, which is practice, test, improve, repeat. So this loop is sort of a loop which will be very, very helpful when you are getting into this aspect of preparation. So you need to follow this system. So do not feel lost again. This module is all about you getting to know what to do next. That is how it changes. And at this point you don't need motivation anymore because you already know what you're running into, and then you need to have a plan by this point. And then you need to remember that success of NATA is not just about extraordinary things which you're going to do. It is always about the type of skills which you will be implementing for yourselves and upgrading them, and that comes with consistency.